Hello everyone, my name is Janice and I'm your MC for today.
Welcome to our third webinar for Industrial Innovation Challenge 2021, powered by ISDN Software Business, AVEVA, and Stratus. During today's webinar, we will do recordings, and if you have any questions during this session, you can type down your question on the chat box or simply click the raise hand button and the presenter will address your question during the Q&A session at the last part of his presentation. Before we kickstart to our presentation formal, let me share with you our webinar and workshop series. We already presented to you general introduction, demo, and interactive workshop in the last 7 sessions. And also, I just want to give you a brief overview on the agenda for today, which is Operation Management Solutions with AVEVA. And without further ado, I shall hand you over to our presenter for today to share with you his knowledge about AVEVA solution. Over to you now, Sir GK.
Thank you, Janice. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Today, what we will cover is Operation Management Solution with AVEVA. We will run through the list of Operation Management Solutions from AVEVA and their design principles, key objective, and value. Hopefully, after this presentation, we have provided enough information on the capability of these solutions for your consideration for deployment in your operations. Driving operation excellence is to help to improve efficiency, gain greater agility through optimized processes, and achieve the confidence to operate reliably. Our vision is helping customers achieve operation excellence by using operation intelligence from edge to enterprise to drive better decisions and outcomes for sustainable growth. Operation management system align cross-functional teams to a common intent. Operation team exists at various levels of the organization, where physical location, perspective, and timescale differ. But there is a need to align towards a common goal using shared information to create actionable insights. Plant and field teams personnel usually focus typically in a shift mentality and on a single work cell online. Control room teams looks into the immediate past and future across a full process of facilities. Enterprise team heavily analyze the past and present to plan and operate strategically. All can benefit from real-time and historical data, reporting, collaborations, and a common system given by Operation Management System in order to improve overall efficiency, reliability, and agility, and building resiliency into everyday operations. AVEVA provides comprehensive range of operation management solutions. These packages help to create a world-class operation solutions. We have shown some of these applications in our past webinar presentation, demos, and workshops. With the extended capability offered by the broad range of AVEVA applications, team that has been isolated to traditional HMI can now gain access to tools, mobility, and knowledge that they haven't had access to before. This also opens up possibility for future growth as the business changes and adapts over time, such as leveraging cloud for non-critical systems and exploring solutions for AI and machine learning within the organizations. There are 2 key design principles helps to build the list of applications which you have seen in the previous slides. These are: number one, it is vendor agnostics. By using unified process layer to govern the operation across different subsystems supplied by different vendors. Second, it is using an asset-centric model to drive unified operations. The application is built and organized around the asset model approach, where each functional control, visualization graphics, monitoring and control operations are all designed, built and managed in a common engineering platform. The asset-centric model helped to provide the basic process data where all the other applications such as SCADA, process optimization, energy management, condition monitoring, asset health can be built around the contextual information around the asset, modeling its control behavior and control characteristics. These two design principles helps to drive operation efficiency and system simplicity. With the two key design principles, vendor agnostics and asset model approach, it provides the following key elements in the solutions in order to create the values. First, it provides visualization of information with powerful visual insight. Second, it helps to define and manage the asset data. Third, it helps to organize and take control of the process. All these key elements will drive towards the goal to provide operations with unique, contextual-driven digital insight to their asset design, review, plan, and helps to execute work more safely and efficiently. It helps to minimize the time for the operation personnel to access the correct information. In overall, it helps to connect people, process, and asset around the operations. You have already seen Unified Operations Center for Process Operation Management in previous webinar presentation. Today, we want to show you the new model-based approach of AVEVA MES solutions, where operation is modeled and driven using defined workflow processes and integration with MES production model driven by the real-time production event from system platform or other branch system. By leveraging AVEVA workflow management capabilities, the customer can now get access to new ways to measure and improve operation performance. These include dashboard of workflow execution metrics to analyze the root cause for process bottleneck or variation. Users can create notification for rule violations to be notified of specific conditions or exceptions. Other parts of the solutions include the MES, which provides production process modeling with execution and data correction rules, and other elements to track and model the production's activities. Also, the system platform provides the equipment model to give the data and event detection for automatic data corrections. All these make up the component to provide operation activity modeling and execution, tracking, and traceability to help manage the overall production activities. The KeyMES solution capability offered from the model-driven MES can include importing of work order from an external application or create the work order manually. It can also sequence the work order manually or through a finite capacity scheduling applications. You can also attach the routing instruction, the bill of material, set point, standard operational procedures, and data correction requirement to a work order. Optionally, you can attach a quality sampling plan execution and equipment performance tracking. You can also capture all the work order and job execution event. A report of the productions and consumption can be generated when the work order is finished or at the end or the beginning of each shift or at any time. You can also monitor the work order status and the work order schedule with visibility of current production result versus the planned production rate and duration. It can also automatically determine the current line bottleneck by validating the line performance across multiple line equipment. You can also detect, capture, and view utilization events such as equipment downtime or short stoppages impacting the equipment performance. Last but not least, through the system platform, it provides the automatic data correction through integration with control system or system platform. And manual data correction is also supported. So these are all the standard MES capabilities with the model-driven MES approach by AVEVA. To further illustrate the MES capability, I'd like to walk you through a typical work order checklist workflow scenario and how it can be managed in AVEVA MES. A work order is created with startup check prerequisite. This checklist will be sent to the operator for completion. Upon completion of the checklist, the supervisor is required to approve on the checklist before the work order can be started. The supervisor will receive a notification for the work order start request, and the supervisor will have to validate the details of the checklist completed by the operator and provides the approval or reject the request. A notification is then sent back to the operator to notify of approval or reject status. In case of approval, the operator will go ahead to confirm on the work order start. The work order start event will then forwarded to the process system to execute the work order accordingly. And the start result is sent back to the operator. So, in this whole workflow, the process of creating the work order and the process of sending the checklist to the operator and the supervisor for approval and for completion, as well as the signal to the process control system to physically execute the work order. All these workflow processes will be managed inside the AVEVA MES. This is the demo of operator checklist which I explained earlier on. So in this demo over here, the MES is using the web interface, and on this interface you can see a work order is created with startup checklist prerequisite. The operator complete the checklist, and the checklist
will basically need the approval by the supervisor before work order starts. So a notification will be sent to the supervisor. And the supervisor, upon receiving this notification, he can open up the app on his mobile device to validate the details of the checklist and provide approval or rejects on the request. So the approval and the reject will then route from the supervisor back to the operators. So on the operator terminals, a notifications will be displayed. So the notification will notify on the approval or the reject status. In case of approval, the operator will confirm on the work order start. So the work order will be started by the corresponding process control system, and the start result will be sent and update on the MES display.
So, AVEVA's suite of applications help to align different entities within an organization and increase operational awareness so that these entities are operating closest to the process. The solutions provided by AVEVA helps to provide the actionable insight beyond just process control and visualizations. All these different entities in the organization can benefit from collaborations, data analysis and reporting, execution capability, and common system management that leverage on hybrid cloud and on-premises software deployment. Now, I would like to call upon Stratus to give you a perspective of how Stratus computing technology can help to further improve on the operational performance. Thank you very much.
Thanks, GK. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alvin Kua, and I am the Senior Technical Consultant for Stratus. Before I start, I would like to thank ISTM for giving me the opportunity to share how Stratus computing can improve the efficiency as well as performance for operation technology. First of all, let's face it, the operation management in the OT industry is getting more and more converged into the IT realm. More and more OT functionality will rely or keep relying on IT solutions as part of the industrialization 4.0. So let's explore what some of the uptime challenges that are faced in an OT IT hybrid architecture. The number one challenges I would say is more on the single point of failure. So by using traditional PC, server, or even an IPC, it poses as a single point of failure when the hardware itself fails. Okay. That will translate to services lost, application is not available, and a lot of headache for the operators. Extra total cost of ownership is required to cater for traditional that is need to be set up in a data center that will relate to high TCO. And for time to restore application, if the service is not available, certain skill set or IT skill set is required just to restore it to ensure that the operation can continue to flow on. And another example I can think of is more on the cybersecurity concern in the OT-IT hybrid model. With that, more and more convergence are in place, and with the recent news of some of the cyber attacks in the US, it can set as an example of why OT-IT is a very utmost important concern for security. And last but not least, not forgetting that some of the compliance issue as well as for the auditing that will come into play in IT and OT hybrid architecture nowadays. So with Stratus, what we can propose and we can position ourselves is as a form of solution is simplified computing. particularly computing at the areas of OT industrial at the edge. What if you could quickly and easily get the performance you want and at the same time meet your service level agreement, SLA? And what if your computing system was highly reliable and resilient, which is able to withstand events that will bring lesser computer down and keep your services running? What if your system were highly automated and could easily be managed by fewer general operational and technical resources instead of just specialized IT staff? So, Structure's FT server at the edge is able to provide that solution. Structure's FT server is the ideal solution for your digital transformation initiative, particularly at the edge or the OT sector. FT server is an intelligent, self-monitoring, self-diagnostic, self-healing computer system. Several unique features like its automated uptime layer, its active service architecture, and its modular design with hot swappable customer replaceable unit allow you to do more with less. With Structure's FT server, as well as our ruggedized small form factor platform that provides downtime prevention at the OT sector, we are able to provide a solution that will fit in multiple industrial zones. Let's take a look at this example. In level 0, which is usually the process network here, it will consist of sensor, drive, actuator, and robot. So that's part of the production line. Same goes for level 1, that is part of the basic control network, where the batch jobs are running, process, as well as safety control are in place. So these are all the digital and the sensor in terms of getting the input and output, which will in turn be writing to a SCADA or operator interface. And typically this will be part of a services or a application that is required to be running to gather all the inputs from the sensor. So in terms of our Structure's hardware solution, we have a ruggedized and small form factor by the name of ZTC Edge or Zero Touch Compute Edge that is able to provide resilience and non-destructive services that will keep running for all the application that is hosted in level 2, and that is part of the area supervisory control. And in terms of level 3, in the site operation network, which consists of multiple line SCADA, historian, or even engineering workstation, we can have a flexibility of deploying both solutions, either our ZTC Edge or the FT server, and which will achieve the same outcome, right? Which is to prevent downtime before it happens for all the functional role. And typically in level 3, it is located in a local data center or even in a control room in a remote location. Last but not least, on the level 4, which is part of an enterprise security zone, this is where all the site business planning and logistic network will be sitting. And in it, roles like function roles like ERP, finance, as well as messaging are typically installed in here. And that is where our FT server shines. When it comes to that, we are able to provide, again, a resilient platform to ensure that all the functionality services are non-destructive to all the user as well as all the function. Let's talk about an example of how IFT server from Structures is ideal for modelizing a plant or OT plant. Previously, in the past, all the system or multiple systems are installed on a hardware with a silo hardware with all the operating system that is typically a Windows operating system, and all the functional roles such as HMI, SCADA, and historian are installed individually. And all the T clients, such as the engineering workstation, as well as the operator workstation, will be connecting one by one. But what if you can actually use a single system or single platform, which is from FT server? We are able to virtualize and consolidate all the function into a single platform, yet is able to provide downtime prevention as well as up to less than 5 minutes of downtime per year for unscheduled hardware, which will provide all the critical services for all these functions. And at the same time, all the operator workstation, right, as well as the engineering workstation are able to access via a team client, which is next generation of the desktop workstation for them. You can use it through means of tablet as well. Based on what I have talked about earlier on in our ruggedized, small, resilient platform, we can provide an end-to-end solution from the edge to the enterprise. Think of the previous example that I have spoken of, which is to do all the functional consolidation on the main data center. For example, from level 1 all the way, from level 2 all the way out to level 4, right? And that includes the SCADA, the HMI, and the historian, for example. And at the edge area where we can perform IoT analytic as well as engineering workstation or even a local historian, they can all be achieved by deploying using our ZTC Edge itself. Having give a brief introduction of how our solution can help to achieve better efficiency for the operation management, you can see that in terms of solution, we can be deployed in areas like MES, SCADA, APN, as well as SCM. And in terms of industry, we are everywhere. Just to give an example, oil and gas, F&B, water, wastewater, as treatment, as well as FSI, financial institution, retail, as well as transportation. Basically, we are everywhere from the edge to the data center, or vice versa. With that, I would like to share a few use cases or instances where structured solution is being deployed in some of the critical operation management infrastructure around the world. For the first use case I have to share, it is a water tank in Turkey. So in this example, the requirement is to store, to ensure all the critical data are being stored for at least up to 1 year. And based on our FT server ruggedized, autonomous, and ease of maintenance character of the edge computing, this ensures that the customer will have no data loss for the rest of the system, for the rest of the project life that is deployed in this water tank, as long as they are using our productive solution. The second example is located in South Africa and in remote area like in Spain as well. So it is essentially a solar farm that is responsible for gathering and to convert all the solar energy into electricity to supply electricity to all the substations around the areas in Spain as well as South Africa. So this is to ensure that the efficiency of the energy production is available. The reading is still there, and the value and the numbers are being captured, even though the communication link to the control center is disconnected. So it serves as a form of an edge silo system itself when it is disconnected to the data center. So in other words, the reading is always available, right, in this solar farm. That is due to the resiliency of our edge platform. For the last example, or the last scenario I have to share, is closer to home, in Southeast Asia, is located in Indonesia. So again, our ZTC Edge, the ruggedized small platform, is deployed at an LNG depot to ensure there is a smooth flow of the gas control in the various LNG tank to the downstream. So it ensures, number one, the safety regulation, and number two, the compliance in terms of the reading that for this operation by using our ZTC Edge, which is the ruggedized platform that to prevent downtime and to ensure the application is always running. So with these slides, I have come to my sharing. So again, I would like to thank ISDN for giving me the opportunity to share how structures can help to benefit and improve the efficiency for operation management. Thank you.
Thanks, Alvin, for that interesting presentation. Before we continue, let's have a recap on our webinar series. And we are now down to our second to the last webinar, whereby we already delivered information that might be useful for your team before our competition begins on 27th of September. And if you are interested to join the IIC competition, registration is still open until 15th of October. You can register on our website, www.isdnsoftware.com.
And we'll now go into our Q&A session. So please go ahead and type your questions into the chat box, or you can unmute your audio to ask questions, and we'll try and have them answered by our presenters.
Good afternoon, everyone. Our Q&A session is now open, so you may now type down your questions into the chat box, and our presenter will address your question accordingly. So you may now ask questions. There is one question coming from our audience, so I think it's for Sir GK to answer. So, can AVEVA MES work with other process control software? Sir GK, can you answer this question?
Yes. Okay. Can you hear me, Janice?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Good. Great. All right. These are good questions. AVEVA MES, through the system platform, will be able to work with any other process control system. If you know if you do not want the AVEVA MES to work through the system platform for connectivities, yes, AVEVA MES can connect to the process control system using the standard control protocol like OPC, UA, or the MQTT. All right? Okay. Thank you.
Is there
Another
any more
question?
question? Yeah. Another question is, can the model-driven MES functionalities be used with InTouch system platform along with the process HMI display? Sir GK?
Yes. Whatever functionality that you have seen in the demo or presented, those functionality can be it's the same functionality that you will be seeing if you were to use the MES with InTouch or the system platform. So the web interface, the control on the web interface, those can be actually displayed on the InTouch screen. All right. So the same interface can be extended to the process control operator. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir GK, for answering these questions. Is there any more questions from the audience? I think it's still for Sir GK. What is the difference between AVEVA MES and AVEVA Batch Management? Sir GK.
Oh, okay. AVEVA MES is a plant-wide MES, and it basically focusing on the full MES functionality. Things like you can use the MES for integration with the ERP, and it has the finite scheduling capability, as I mentioned. And last but not least, you can basically model the whole plant production process from material receiving, from the inventory to the process routing, and all the way into the material tracking, consumption tracking, and so on and so forth. For batch management is basically focusing a lot more on the process unit operations. Using our batch management server, you can basically model the process unit, the control unit, the control logics in terms of logic sequences, and also the formulations, and execute those sequence as well as monitoring on some of the formulation which you have defined along with the recipe. So the batch is a lot more process focused, right? Whereas for the MES is a lot more on the whole plant production focus. So I hope that is clear, and I hope you understand the difference now. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Sir GK. Is there any more question? I think it's for Sir Alvin to answer. So I understand Strato solution is about downtime prevention. How does it work? Sir Alvin, can you answer the question?
Hey, hi. Can you hear me? This is Alvin.
Yes, Alvin, we
Yes,
can
sir.
hear you.
Okay, so good afternoon, audience. Okay, so typically with our solution will come with two identical platform unit. Okay, so there's always a form of certain degree of high redundancy. Okay, and what happens is that two physical nodes will be normalized on the CPU as well as the memory, or at the same clock speed and the bus speed. So on top of that, all the hard disks, all the data are in sync in real time and without any downtime. Okay. So what is the good thing that based on this architecture? This is what we call the architecture for log setting, right? It will be achieved as a single logical unit. So when this architecture is in place, the software will not be able to know that there is two identical physical unit there, but rather it will be treated as a single unit. And by doing that, it actually need to just commit to one single licenses of either the operating system or your application, therefore helping you to save the cost on top of the licensing as well. Yeah, so I hope this clarified for this question. Over back to you, Danny.
Okay, thank you, Sir Alvin. Another question come from the audience is, how does it compare against the usual clustering solution? I think it's for Sir Alvin to answer. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So for structures, as you guys are aware that during my presentation, I spoke on more on the fault tolerance. Okay. So what does fault tolerance mean in term? In a very layman term, it means that there is no downtime for your application or to your services, as well as no data loss. Okay, so let's talk about the usual clustering solution that's out there. In a generic solutioning for a typical clustering solution, we will require at least two physical nodes or two physical servers with external or centralized storage. This is to enable them to share the same data. Okay. So when you talk of this as an investment point on purchasing the item, you need to purchase 3 items. And on top of that, there is a certain degree of skill set that is required to know how to set them up. First, we need to know how to set out, have knowledge on setting out on the server, plus on the central storage. And when you install the software, there's another layer of clustering knowledge you need to know just to cluster, to form a baseline for the HA for your, or high availability for your application. And when you do that, right, not only that, when you try to do a recovery, you need to spend time on testing. So all these, when we take into consideration of the investment, for the hardware, as well as the investment or the learning curve to set up and maintain it, versus our solution for fault tolerance, where out of the box it is a platform that allows you to just safely install your application, and that's it, it works. Because our hardware is operating system agnostic. So what it means is that when we pass the system to the MES or operation manager, right, it will just be installed and configured and is ready to go. So I hope that this answers the question also. Back to you, Janice.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Sir Alvin, for...
Thank you.
Is there any more? There is another one from our audience. So how is the recovery like for the Strata solution? Sir Alvin, can you answer again?
Okay. Recovery. Okay, that's a good question. So that's one of the value of our Strata solution. So we have a value by the name of autonomous. So when it comes to recovery, in an event that any of our hardware suffer a failure, whether it is on the whole hardware system or just a fault component, that's what I've mentioned previously, how our hardware is being set up, right? Whenever there's a failure, when we do the replacement, we will replace the whole unit. Okay, and in terms of replacing the whole unit, the area when it comes to the synchronization of the data will be performed via in a self-healing mode. So everything is automatic. All the operator or the user just need to know is to connect physically where the replacement takes place prior to the hardware is replaced. So by doing that, right, everything is automatic from there on. There is there's no need for the user to go into any of the system or the interface to click here and there just to recover everything. It is a plug and play recovery in short. So what does it mean for the user? It means that there is no IT knowledge that the user needs to really know in order to recover our system. Okay. Yep, I think this is the answer to this question.
Okay.
So,
thank you, sir. Thank you again for answering that questions. Is there any more question from the audience? Anyone? Well, if you don't have any questions from the audience, let's conclude our presentation for today. So we hope you enjoy today's webinar. And if you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact us at info@isdnsoftware.com or visit our website www.isdnsoftware.com. And please do also visit AVEVA and Stratus Technology site if you are interested in their respective solution offerings. And besides that, we would like also to invite you on our next and last interactive workshop, which will be held on 24th of September. And the topic is AVEVA Recipe Management. And our registration for competition is still open. And if you are interested to join, you can direct go to our website and register. So thank you again, everyone, for your attendance today, and keep safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you.